What happens when the artist behind your childhood finally walks away? When a developer pours their heart into a world, builds it brick by brick, level by level, boss fight by boss fight, and then exits the company that made it all possible. Some of these creators are the reason we stayed up late on school nights, the reason we replayed that one mission, that one boss, that one impossible level. They didn't just give us games, they gave us art. Now yes, the gaming industry has always had its darker side. Crunch culture, burnout, the developers working behind the scenes while executives take the spotlight. That's the uncomfortable reality of the business. But when you talk about passion, when you talk about developers who lived and breathed their projects, few names hit harder than Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin. From Crash Bandicoot on the PS1 to Jak and Daxter on the PS2, Naughty Dog couldn't miss. Every PS1 title is a greatest hits. Every PS2 release, bigger, bolder, more ambitious, and also a greatest hits. By the time we reach Jak 3, everything changes. The series goes full Mad Max. The world expands beyond Haven City. The tone shifts, the scale explodes, and behind the scenes, we were witnessing the end of an era. Welcome to episode 7. Today, we become Wastelanders in Jak 3.
Okay, watch and learn.
Oh, I'm learning alright.
Ellie, stay up, come on! What? Is that it?
You asked for it.
If you tune in every week, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome aboard. I'm the Retro Phantom, Digital Handshake. It's nice to meet you. Every Saturday, I drop long-form retrospectives on the games that shaped our childhoods. Right now, we're in the middle of the Naughty Dog takeover, covering the entire Jak series. After this, we got one more stop with Jak X Combat Racing, and next month we head into the Uncharted era and the beginning of The Last of Us. If you want to stay up to date with every upload, hit that subscribe button. We're pushing towards 10,000 subscribers, and every sub gets us closer to that 15,000 subscriber goal. If you love Naughty Dog, long-form breakdowns, or just need something nostalgic to fall asleep to, I've got you covered. And if you enjoyed a video, drop a like. It helps smaller channels like mine in the algorithm battlefield. And if you're feeling generous, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. The link is in the description. With that said, let's dive into this. Okay, here is a quick recap if you haven't seen my other Naughty Dog Takeover videos. If you've seen them, feel free to advance past this recap. I'll give you a moment to do that now. Andy Gavin and Jason Rubin didn't enter gaming when it was cool. They were there when it barely existed. Two kids from Hebrew school in the early 80s bonding over Apple II computers. No YouTube tutorials, no Reddit forums, no Stack Overflow, no AI. If something broke, you figured it out. You didn't understand something, you reverse engineered it. That mentality never left them. From Jam Software to founding Naughty Dog, from selling floppy disk games for a couple dollars per copy to cold calling EA as teenagers, they learned early what this industry could give you and what it could take away. At E3, they built Keith the Thief and later Rings of Power, and ambitious RPGs that sold well but were ultimately controlled by the publishers. With creative interference, the cost of cartridges, these games wouldn't get reprints. That lesson burned the boys. So they stepped away from gaming for a short while. But when they came back in the 90s, they didn't just want to make games. They wanted control. The PlayStation era became their proving ground. With Crash Bandicoot, they didn't just create a mascot. They bent Sony's hardware to their will, reverse engineered dev kits, building custom tools, accessing CD drives in ways engineers never even expected. Crash became PlayStation's identity. After 3 mainline games, a kart racer, they had sold millions. But there was one solid problem with Crash Bandicoot and Naughty Dog. They didn't own him. So when the Crash era in the 90s ended, so did their relationship with Universal. And in 2001, they made the most important decision of their careers. They sold Naughty Dog to Sony. Not because they were failing, but because they were thinking ahead. Budgets started exploding. The PS2 generation was going to cost real money, and self-funding AAA games was no longer going to be sustainable. Under Sony, they built something new. Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy. This was not just a platformer. It was a technical flex, a seamless world that had no load screens and Pixar-level style animation. It was a hit, but around this time, platforming games started deteriorating because audiences and gamers were starting to become more mature. This would lead to Jak 2, a tonal shift, a risk, and a response to the changing industry. Because by 2003, gaming wasn't about mascots anymore. It was about grit, it was about realism, and it was about open worlds. So when GTA 3 dropped, it sent shockwave through the entire industry. And Naughty Dog didn't ignore that. They adapted. So in the next game, Jak could speak, he had rage, and he had basically grown up. This worked. Naughty Dog gave a sequel that not only surpassed the first game in story and maturity, but it gave fans a game that grew up with them. From floppy disks to the PlayStation 2, from Hebrew school programmers to industry legends, now we fully get to the end of their era.
A lot of what Jak 2 is what we wanted to do with Jak 1, but just ran out of time. We had a lot of time working on new technology. We created an engine that was extremely competitive. I know Ratchet & Clank is considered one of the best games of last gen that shared our engine, so Ratchet & Clank was using the same technology. We built upon that again. We've done another 2 years of technology work. This is kind of our 2.0 engine. But we weren't fighting just to get stuff up on screen, which we were with the first games. So we had a lot of things that we wanted to do that we just simply ran out of time. So the maturity was not one of those things. The second thing we did is we looked at the market 2 years after Jak and said, okay, what's happened? And things had changed greatly since Crash days. When Crash came out, well, first of all, there hadn't been a GTA 3. Certainly there had been violent video games, but they were almost more slapstick arcade games like, what was it called, Slasher or whatever it was, more than something serious. And certainly none of them were that much fun that they really drove something home. Something like Mortal Kombat was violent and it was a huge success, but it wasn't that much different than Street Fighter. Then the violence seemed like anything more than kitsch, right? Street Fighter was actually a much better fighting game, so people just kind of said, oh, the gore is kind of kitsch, so it didn't sell off what Grand Theft Auto set up. And I'm about the oldest person that could have a lifetime devoted to playing games. I don't remember a time before games, really. We're still playing games, 33-year-olds, 25-year-olds. And somebody very bright said at Rockstar, there's this huge market out there. They've got more disposable income than 14-year-olds. They buy their own games. Let's supply them with games. And as soon as they opened Pandora's box and said, here's fare for you that those people wanted, not necessarily violence, but something a little bit more mature. Play a criminal, things like that. Something that just had a little bit more edge than the friendly fare like Mario and Sonic and stuff like that. And as soon as Pandora's box were open, the 16-year-olds and the 14-year-olds were saying, I want to be like the older guys. I want to play their stuff. Common, right? You want to be like somebody older than you. And certainly Grand Theft Auto couldn't be as successful as it was without 14 and 12-year-olds playing it.
Now, while hype around the Jak series was high, when marketing came for Jak 3, you might be wondering something. Where was Jason Rubin? If you've been following Naughty Dog since '96, you know exactly what I mean. Every Crash interview, every PS1 promo, every Jak reveal up to this point, Rubin was there. He was the face, the mouthpiece, the guy explaining the vision. And suddenly, he wasn't. In 2004, instead of being on a press tour for Jak 3, Rubin was on a different stage entirely. The DICE Summit. For those who don't know, the DICE DICE Summit stands for Design, Innovate, Communicate, Entertain. It's not some fan expo. It's a high-level industry conference in Las Vegas. Executives, developers, studio heads, the people who shape where gaming goes next. And that year, Rubin didn't show up to celebrate. He showed up to challenge the industry.
The second thing is I'm taking the AIS at its charter, and its charter is to elevate the art. So if I offend you in what I'm about to say, and this will be a pretty harsh speech, then understand that I am doing what I believe this conference should be, which is trying to elevate the art of making video games.
He starts by breaking down something that at first sounds random. He compares video games to packaged goods, bleach, vodka, stuff you buy because of branding. In those industries, the packaging is sometimes more important than what's inside. But then he contrasts that with entertainment. Movies, comics, music, those industries thrive on talent. Directors, writers, artists. You buy a Scorsese film because it's Scorsese. You buy a Tarantino film because it's Tarantino. And Rubin's argument? Video games were acting like packaged goods, not like art. The brand was everything. The box art was everything. The publisher logo was everything. And the developers? Replaceable.
First of all, this is not a talk about parties, but I will use that to show a greater problem. There are 4 points I want to get across. The first is that video games are currently sold like packaged goods. I will explain that. Talent is not respected. The second thing is video games are a talent business. We are a talent business, not a packaged good business. Product development is the talent. And I say product development because that includes people that work at publishing houses. So when I say publisher, I generally don't mean the people working on product at publishers. So if you're a developer at EA, that doesn't mean you're part of the publisher. To me, there's a division that's happening here, and I'll explain that more. The other thing is, if the business doesn't change, talent suffers. And bottom line, I think the whole business suffers. I think that's a weaker argument, but I do believe it to be true. And the last thing is that talent has to force the change. Talent has to rise up. This is a revolutionary speech for me. I've come to a certain extent, the end of my limit on the respect that the developer gets from certain segments of the industry. The fist is not a mistake in these slides. All right, first, video games are currently sold like packaged goods. Talent is not respected. What are packaged goods? Packaged goods are very familiar to you. I have a list of some of them here. The important thing is that the package is more important than the good. The difference between a Prada purse and a $5 sack that you can buy at Whole Oats is not how well it carries things. It's the attachment you have to the purse through celebrity, through marketing. Marketing makes that purse valuable. Its actual use is no better or worse. The same is true of vodka. They basically taste the same. Certainly Smart Water is not terribly different from Evian. Blind taste test, how many of you can pick the difference? It's the attachment and the marketing that makes those brands special. Clorox bleach is chemically identical to regular bleach, yet you'll go spend more on Clorox. That is a packaged goods business. It is a very viable, realistic, true way of marketing something if it's a packaged good. Branding is far more important than content in those industries. In fact, often they're selling something you don't even really need. An attachment is extremely important. That's why they trot out celebrities. That's why they place it in movies. That's why they get their name out there as much as they can to get it in your head. So when you see that brand on the shelf, you pull it off. Market share changes over years in this industry. A 3% increase in Coke over Pepsi is gargantuan. A huge coup for Coca-Cola. Our industry's not like that. Our industry follows the talent model a lot more, and I've listed a couple talent publishers at the top here. The quality of the content that they sell is what makes you go buy what they're selling. It's not so important if it's a Marvel comic. It's who wrote it, who drew it, what's the character, who's in it, the content, right? Universal Studios spends no effort with the idea that Universal Studios makes the best movies, because it's crap. They make everything from crap to cream. So does TriStar, so does everybody else. And they realize that the way to sell to you is to say, you're gonna like what's in it,
You're going to like who's in it, and you're going to like who did it. And that's the difference between those two brands. It's selling what's in it and selling the aura of it. Effort is spent in those industries, therefore, publicizing the talent. And this is what's not happening in our industry right now.
He brings up Tara Reid, not to attack her personally, but as a symbol. For those of you who don't know, Tara Reid is an actress who had been in the business since she was 6 years old. By the early 2000s, she was a dominant it girl, driven by her iconic role as Vicky in the American Pie franchise. Her popularity stemmed from her status as a quintessential, relatable Y2K blonde bombshell, appearing in multiple comedies, hosting her own show, and cultivating a high-profile party girl persona before the social media era. Jason Rubin would speak about celebrities like Reid. At the time, publishers were throwing parties for celebrities, rolling out red carpets, using star power to sell games, while the actual creators of those games sat in the background.
And this is what's not happening in our industry right now, which brings me to Tara Reid. Tara Reid apparently is a future game developer, best I can tell, because Sony Computer Entertainment and everybody else in the industry is spending a lot of effort courting her. So the question is, why? Well, here's Tara Reid broken down into 5 bullets, the best I could give. She's very cute. She loves to party. I've actually been at parties with her. She's a great party, better than me by far, no doubt. You want to party her? Go for Tara. When she's not partying, she takes time to act. She may be good, she may be bad, but she definitely acts. She's a big celebrity. There's no doubt that. People recognize her face, they don't recognize my face. In 2003, SCA threw 4 parties for her and her friends at the Hamptons. PS2 second anniversary, which, I don't know, I saw a lot of games I didn't even know it existed until afterwards. Sundance, things like that. We got one catch-all party at E3. Thousands of people were invited to that party, and yet a lot of developers sitting in the audience right now called me for invites. And I kind of felt lucky to get an invite. There were a lot of junior PR and legal people there. Apparently they're more important than the developer. For Sony Computer Entertainment, I don't get it. What they should be doing is they should be saying, Lauren Lanning makes great games for Xbox. We should get him at every event we do. Not because he's going to make games for us, but just to remind him we exist. There are a lot of other people out there that don't work on games for Sony. They should be courting those people. That's what Hollywood does. And it makes sense for Hollywood to do it. Why doesn't it make sense for us to do it? Hollywood can't get away with disrespecting their talent like that. They simply can't do it. If Steven Spielberg calls up for a premiere he had nothing to do with, or actually, because person calls up. So Mr. Spielberg would like to attend. Absolutely. How many people would you like to bring? But that's how Hollywood acts. Why? Why do they understand that talent has that value? Working on a Spielberg movie will make Universal Studios have a better year than not, on average. Why don't we get that? Where is the value? Is it neat? 1 in 8 units of Sony Computer Entertainment's lifetime software I worked on? Ted Price, president of Insomniac Games, he's generated more revenue for SCA than any independent company. Alex Seropin, I mean, come on, he works on great Xbox games. Wouldn't you love to have him working on PS2? It doesn't have to be a Sony person. Wouldn't you love to have him, at your parties, involved with you, meet him, greet him, try to slowly get him to work with you? Ray and Gray, massive developers. Dave Perry, who's actually working with Hollywood. So if you got a Woody for Hollywood, bring Dave in. Dave's actually doing stuff that's good for the industry with Hollywood. He's actually getting Hollywood and the game industry to go together. Or is it Tara Reid? Is it having her stand in front of your logo? And for the sake of argument here, having her say, I love the PlayStation on 2 or 3 television shows, which is great free advertising. It comes with a celebrity backing. I'm assuming all that's going to happen. Well, it's obvious with Sony things. Two different colored backgrounds. These photos are from 2 different parties. EA loves her. Nintendo loves her. The whole fucking world loves her. What are they getting? Everybody wants to do this. I think she didn't make the Xbox party. And this picture kind of got me. Paris Hilton, star of our favorite video. She's got an Xbox box, right? How many games do you think are in there? How many developers in this room have had a hard time getting enough games to give out to their development staff? They probably had 500 people at this party, each got 3 games. What? It doesn't make any sense. This one kills me, the next one. This is the True Crime premiere. Now, I actually went to this. Technically, I believe it was the soundtrack premiere. But, come on. Without the game, you don't have a soundtrack. This is the best celebrity photo I could get. Mark Wahlberg was there. I was there. I snuck in with some press people. Not that I was invited, but Bright Riley is what they got standing in front of the box. She's happy. She's there. Executive producer of the soundtrack. They invited the development team. This one is extra bad because it's actually for the game, not just the brand. The day before, 5 invites. You can come if you want. Red card. That one's worse than all the others. I can't take that. Red card. Total red card for Activision. Alright. This isn't effective. Alright, Tara Reid's place is in a game. I am not anti-Hollywood. I am not anti-celebrity. I love that shit. I want to bring Hollywood into our games. Tara Reid will help sell games. And sometime in the future, if she doesn't find out about this talk, I might work with her. But if you give her free booze, you're going to watch her pass out. She did that 2 weeks ago at one of these parties, by the way. Got carried out on someone's shoulder. Introduce her to the talent. You might get her inspired. And if you get her inspired, you'll get it in there. And that street credibility from her talking about it and the plugs she does on TV will come out a lot more naturally.
Now this is where it gets uncomfortable. Rubin starts talking about the consequences of that system. If developers don't have visibility, they can't negotiate their value. If creators aren't branded, fans don't know who made what. If the public doesn't associate games with artists, then how can games ever be recognized as an art form? And that line hits differently in 2026 than it did in 2004. Because if you think about it, when you hear Metal Gear Solid, you think Hideo Kojima. When you hear Tekken, you think of Koshiro Harada. Resident Evil, Shinji Mikami. These names are etched into their work. That's branding done right. Rubin wasn't downplaying Kojima or Miyamoto. He was actually praising their visibility. He makes it clear those creators are pushed as talent. Their names matter.
If all of the directors get their name on the box and they come in and they say any developer is even, you obviously believe that in your industry, nobody's talking about your developers, we'll take any one of them, their slice of the pie is going to be bigger. And that means the programmers get less, the artists get less, the girl at the front desk or the guy that's getting coffee gets less. We have to make sure we mesh and not fall in under. And the way we're being put forth right now, throwing parties for that and not inviting our own people, makes us look like beneath them. And that's not a good attitude. It's not correct. That's very dangerous. So does it really matter? I mean, does it really matter if we got our name on the box? Well, Kojima did. Kojima was also Newsweek's trendsetter, opinion maker, and People to Watch 2002. And if you really don't think that there's a connection there, you're missing the point. Kojima is branded. They go out and they push Kojima as the talent. Of course he didn't program everything. Of course he didn't do all the art. But that helps Kojima. He's not a better game designer than a lot of people in this room. But Kojima's name is out there, and that gives him that visibility. And Newsweek picked up on it. And Miyamoto has the same situation. They push him, and people listen. Miyamoto's being outsold by a lot of American developers right now. A lot of them. But people still look to Miyamoto because he's the only name they got. They know the industry's big, but he's the only one offered up to them. And isn't it an interest that it's the Japanese companies that didn't grow up reading Us magazine, didn't have crushes on George Clooney, or didn't want to play in the NFL? They're putting these people forward. Their games aren't better, guys. They just have better attitude over there.
And Rubin's point was simple. If the artist is invisible, the art never fully matures. Look no further than Kojima's public split with Konami in 2015. When he was absent from the Game Awards, it wasn't just corporate drama. It felt wrong because by then we understood creators matter. But in 2004, that idea was still being fought for. And then Rubin goes one step further.
And this, I wanted to close this from personal note. I want to say again, I do not believe that I am the best developer in the industry. I don't believe that for a moment, but I have been incredibly successful. Not the most successful, but incredibly successful. I don't need a lot of this. I can go out there and I can fight for myself because I'm pretty damn good at it. And I am going to get help. And I am going to do all the things that I did say. And I really don't need it because I could walk away and I could go do something in another industry because I've made a lot of money and I don't need the money anymore. What I'd like to do is help somebody who doesn't have that status. Because I feel that the 20 years I've thrown into this art, the art's also thrown a lot back at me. I've got a lot of help from a lot of people along the way. So the fact is, I can stand up here and say what I'm saying and it can't hurt me. because I can get money elsewhere and make my games elsewhere, and if I bring it to the publisher, they're going to publish it if it makes sense for their bottom line. But there aren't that many people that have that situation. I want to help those people. I really want to help those people. I think that we need to get together, Game Directors Guild, something like that, to make sure that the people that need information and need help can get together. I really want to, and the reason I'm doing this is to give back to the industry that's made my life successful. And I wanted just to say that at the end.
The Game Directors Guild. Like the Directors Guild of America, a collective voice, a structure that protects creators. And here's the part that makes this speech feel almost prophetic. Right before proposing that guild, he says something powerful. He doesn't need the money. He could leave the industry and be fine. He's speaking up because others can't. Coming from a man who spent his teenage years, his college years, and his entire 20s building video games, that speech didn't feel corporate. It felt personal. Rubin wasn't speaking as an executive. He was speaking as someone who had poured 2 decades into an industry he believed in and was starting to question. And understand this, that DICE speech didn't land quietly. It sparked controversy. Developers agreed with him. Publishers weren't thrilled. The industry started debating whether he had crossed the line. And then, just 4 days later, headlines began to circulate. Jason Rubin was stepping down from Naughty Dog. The report read, Jak and Daxter creator Jason Rubin says he plans to leave Naughty Dog, the company he co-founded with his business partner and school buddy Andy Gavin, and later sold to Sony Computer Entertainment after work on Jak and Daxter 3 is complete later this year. Let that sink in. After building the company, after Crash, after helping PlayStation win the late 90s war, after reinventing Jak from this platformer kid-friendly game into this mature teenage edgy game, Jak 3 would be his final game at Naughty Dog. And not long after, Andy Gavin would leave as well. The 2 kids who started coding on Apple IIs were gone. Now, we need to move on. Now, if you remember my Jak 2 video, I told you remember a name, Evan Wells. Because while Rubin was stepping down, Wells was stepping up. Around this time, Wells began becoming the new public face of Naughty Dog. He handled more than marketing. He spoke at the events. He represented the studio at E3. And with Jak 3, you could feel the transition because this wasn't just another sequel. This was the first Naughty Dog game being publicly led by someone who wasn't a founder. So now, let's talk about Jak 3. After the success of Jak 2, a sequel wasn't just likely, it was inevitable. The tone shift worked, the sales justified it, and the audience, they responded. And on January 8th of 2004, the report started surfacing that a 3rd game was already in development. In an IGN article, it said Jak 3 is in the works. In it said, according to Swedish Superplay, Naughty Dog is indeed in the early stages of creating a 3rd in the series. During a visit to see Jak 2 Renegade, Superplay's writer Thomas Widbro saw some early work on the game, including several desert environments, and learned it would make its debut in May of 2004 at E3.
All right, my name is Amy Hennig. I'm the game director on Jak 3, and I'll show you some of the new things we've got going in the game. What we wanted to do with this game is provide the player a lot more of what they loved in Jak 2 and Jak 1 for that matter, but also kind of continue to refine and evolve the experience. So one of the first things we wanted to make sure was that the game didn't look the same. If you saw a screenshot of Jak 3, you wouldn't mistake it for Jak 2. And to that end, you can see one of the major things we've done is it's changed up where Jak begins in this game. And we've had to add a lot of new technology to support this, but he begins the game cast out into this desert wasteland. He's an outcast. It's sort of this kill or be killed environment that he has to prove himself in. He's sort of a little edgier character this time, not really darker than he was in the previous game, but he's kind of a little bit more cynical. And so what you see here, for instance, is we've got this new technology that allows us to render this enormous desert wasteland. It's about 5 times the size of Haven City in the previous game. And, but rather than being kind of this constricted maze-like environment that some people kind of gave us some critiques about, it's a fully open environment. And as in the tradition of Naughty Dog and the Jak games, seamlessly loaded. So as you just go from one area to the next, you're never aware of any loading events. It's completely immersive. The other thing that's new here that I'm demonstrating is obviously we have some new enemies. So you can see some of these guys. I'll try to get one on screen here. These giant desert metalheads. So you have a lot of new enemies that you have to contend with in this game, but they still sort of fit within the fiction that you're familiar with. And we have this rigid body physics model on these vehicles, so it's not just sort of a last-minute thought where we sort of throw these vehicles in and wouldn't it be cool to have wheeled vehicles. It's a complete physics simulation, you know, the way it rolls, the way the gears work, all this kind of stuff. Now we've added a lot of other things. I'll show you some other stuff. We've added a lot of other things to the game to expand Jak as a character, as well as you know, his mechanics. And the story, of course, goes without saying. That's something that we'll continue to have place a lot of importance on. So I'll show you some of the new guns. He in the last game he earned 4 different guns over the course of the game. Now he earns 12. So the original 4 that he had and 8 more weapon mods. And what we've done is we've placed them all right on.
That was one hell of an
skip through the
attack.
cinematics so we can get right to the gameplay, but we placed them right on the D-pad, so you don't have to go into any sub-menu. The gameplay never stops. You can just jump right in, choose from your 12 weapons at any time just by cycling through the positions on the D-pad. So you can see here, for one of the weapon mods, you've got your familiar sort of. Now I've taken out all the enemies. There's nobody to show you now. You've got your familiar sort of blast gun from Jak 2, and you've got a second stage of it, which I'll show you when I get past this obstacle. If I get past this obstacle, which allows you to do an area blast effect, and the third stage of it, which I'll show you as I open this door. It's a grenade launcher. Whoops, that's a bad way to fire a grenade. And so you can see, as I switch through the weapons, the gun just changes real time, you know, as fast as you can do it. So again, just the gameplay just never stops, completely immersive. Now, as far as some of the other weapon mods go, you have sort of the familiar machine gun that you had in the last game, but you earn more varieties of the blue type of weapon. So you've got the sort of Ghostbusters style sweeping attack. And also, level 3 is sort of this homing missile. Very hard to talk over these weapons, but this homing missile that... oh, I'm not doing very good there. And like I showed you up front too, yellow 3, you can kick out this sort of self-propelling thing that just takes out most of the enemies in the room. Yellow 2 is a ricochet. It's a smart ricochet, sort of similar to your shotgun blast. So you can see that there's a lot of new options there, and the enemies are a lot tougher to compensate for that as well. Let's see. And one of the things we've always been proud of, I think, is that the Jak games are sort of more like an action movie. They, you know, unlike some games where there's one thing that they do really well, and the entire game is an iteration of that. With Jak games, it's like whatever's appropriate to the story next, whether you should be on a rescue mission on a vehicle, whether you should be, you know, flying something, driving something, you should be on foot and having to rely on your jetboard or your agility mechanics. The gameplay constantly changes, and it's really a tribute, I think, to Naughty Dog's sort of creative ethic as well as their technology and the power, the quality of the team. So you can see here's a mission that you come upon later in the game where you have to take on this floating war factory, and you have to hijack this vehicle and come around, fly up here out of the city. You can see the entire low-res city down there. Take out the defenses. Once you've taken out all the defenses into place, fighting off all the enemies here, you actually land on this thing, go inside. There's an entire level inside. You fight a boss. So again, it just sort of shows you the seamlessness of the gameplay that you're never taken out of the experience for any loading events. And just to show you a little bit more, some variety. Obviously, there's mini games, but those aren't as good to demo. But I'll show you a little something here. It shows you another game mode in another new area that people haven't seen yet. There's a lot of other new technologies as well that hopefully, if we do them right, are almost subliminal. Like there's cloth physics that are now in and just sort of deform naturally with the body. There's ragdoll physics on the enemies, so they fly backward naturally. And like I said, obviously all the physics models on the vehicles and all, I mean, it all just adds up to creating a really tight feeling experience. So, you know, some games I think these days sort of sacrifice responsiveness for kind of more elaborate animation and things like that, and we've just always had this ethic that it's a game first, and you know, it's got to be responsive, it's got to be fun and colorful and fast. And so here's an example of, I'm running around this Wasteland city that you discover when you're out here. Kind of a tougher place. You can see it's kind of like, and you can ride these leaper lizards. So it's kind of like, you know, the horses out here that people ride. Been sent on this mission to track down these little buggers that are sort of like the rats of the Wasteland, and you're supposed to clear some of them out for this guy, kind of earn his respect. Like that. So, pretty good overview of some of the stuff that we're doing. Like I said, there's just a huge variety. It's about the same size as the previous game. About 60 minutes of the animations that everybody's familiar with that are such high quality, and you know, as immersive, the story is as immersive as the previous ones. It does tie up a lot of the loose ends. It is, you know, the third one in the trilogy, and we think you'll be really surprised by some of the twists and turns that they discover along the way here. But that's my favorite thing to do. So you can see even the enemies you fight here are a lot darker. You know, it's kind of a more, it's sort of a grittier environment that Jak has to face as he kind of approaches adulthood here. We're really pleased by the variety of the experience that we're able to provide, and that's a good capping moment there. I die dramatically.
Development for Jak 3 was ultimately smooth, especially compared to the tonal reinvention of Jak 2. This wasn't a franchise trying to find itself anymore. It was a franchise refining what had already worked. And by late 2004, it was ready. Jak 3 officially released in North America on November 9, 2004, and shortly after in Europe on November 26, 2004, thus completing the trilogy.
Jak and Daxter has always been planned to be a 3-game trilogy, and we started off with Jak 1, the precursor legacy, sort of putting out some mysteries and some questions about the universe. We didn't know who these precursors were, where the planet, or how the planet was made, where Jak came from, why Dark Eco affected Daxter the way it did. And then in Jak 2, we kept adding to the mysteries. In Jak 3, we're wrapping that kind of stuff up. It's the end of the trilogy, not the end of the franchise. It's got some nice closure at the end, but you know, we definitely are leaving it open to explore more areas of the Jak and Daxter universe. Jak 3, we've got more variety in this than we've ever done. We try to keep it fresh, make sure that the player is always doing something new in the next mission. When we started Jak 1, we thought we wanted to introduce the idea of story-based gaming to the platform genre, because you know there have been some great platformers in the past. You know, and Mars Q4 is to this day still a great game, but you know, you didn't have any motivation other than trying to get the birthday cake for the princess in the castle, which is pretty thin. So, you know, we wanted to tell a good story and through some really interesting and well-animated sequences. And in Jak 1, you know, I'll admit we probably fell a little bit short of that, just given the constraints we're under trying to get the technology developed for the PlayStation 2, our first outing. But I think we really hit the mark on Jak 2, and we're really continuing it and taking it to the next level with some of the story things we're doing in this game. Our animators just cranked out a ton of animation, so 80 minutes, that's a feature-length film. The gameplay is seamless and load-free and integrated as always in the Jak and Daxter universe. We have thought that was definitely one of the strong selling points of our games, is to allow the players freedom to immerse themselves in this world and really feel like they're adventuring alongside Jak and Daxter and getting to uncover and find new areas. To the Wasteland, which is 5 times the size of Haven City from Jak 2, so it's just absolutely enormous. Good old-fashioned platforming, which we tried to strike a balance in this game between offering the players a lot of new experience with the vehicles while still giving them a lot of the good old-fashioned platforming, and also mixing in a lot of combat. In Jak 2, we introduced Dark Jak, which is about the aggressive offensive moves. They're all about attacking and killing. The Light Jak moves that we're introducing in Jak 3 are more defensive, or about facilitating your movement through levels. We still have all the dark powers, and now we have light powers too, and he still has the jet board, obviously, that he had from Jak 2, and he's got his weapons, and he's got 8 new mods to the 4 mods that he had in Jak 2, so now he's got a total of 12 weapons. So we're just keep adding and adding and adding stuff to the character. We really want to make sure that this feels like an evolution in the Jak and Daxter universe. Not only are we expanding the areas that you get to explore and adventure in, but we're also expanding the powers that Jak has. We don't want to sort of play out the same game that we had in Jak 1 or 2 and award you the same power-ups that you had before, because as a player, you know, you were playing this game last year, you're like, hey, I already got that. So, you know, we want to give you new stuff and keep growing the character so that you layer things on top of each other. We got some really powerful weapons this time around, and it feels really good to make the strategic use out of them. We've got the Peacemaker from Jak 1 again, homes in and takes out a cluster of enemies. We've got the mass inverter, which actually takes all the enemies and throws them up into the air. It's sort of an anti-grav gun, and while they're sort of suspended in that stasis, you can really just open up with all the other weapons and kill them very handily. And we've got the needle gun here, which is my personal favorite. It's sort of got a Fifth Element flavor of just firing off just tons of needles, and you don't have to aim at all. Each of these weapons gets progressively more and more powerful, but what we've done is made the ammo cost higher and higher, so it becomes a strategic decision based on whether you want to aim your shots and conserve ammo, or whether you just want to open up and just kill a ton of enemies in one. So yeah, another thing on top of the fact that we've got 80 minutes of cinematics in the game, we've got 80 minutes of cinematics in French, Italian, German, and Spanish, all on the same disc. So, you know, if you want to take a little language lesson, you can listen to the movies in German and watch the subtitles in English. We've got Korean, Portuguese, and Spanish supported in text, but no audio. We've also got progressive scan support. We've got Dolby Visual, so 5.1. We've got 16:9. So basically, if you've got a really sweet home theater, you know, we want you to take advantage of that and see it in all its glory in Rubin nights.
Here is a quick spoiler as I'm about to tell the story behind Jak 3. There will also be live spoilers for Jak 1 and Jak 2. Now, if you're not a fan of spoilers, please advance the video to the gameplay overview section as seen on the timeline below. Let's dive into this. The story opens up not in Haven City, but in the desert. Jak is being escorted out of the city by Ashland and Count Vigor of the Council, and it's not a quiet departure, it's exile. Vigor coldly informs Jak that he's being banished for heinous crimes against the people. The city is unstable, war has broken out, and someone needs to take the blame. Jak is the scapegoat. Ashland protests. She knows the truth. She knows Jak saved the city, but Vigor stands firm. Politics over loyalty. Before Jak is sent away, Ashland secretly hands him a tracking beacon, her way of saying she doesn't believe this ends here. Daxter and Pecker don't hesitate. If Jak is leaving, they're leaving too. And just like that, the trio is cast into the Wasteland. As they wander the desert, we're hit with flashbacks to Haven City. Torn speaks of a city divided. The Crimson Guard now has new leadership. Power structures are shifting. Samus returns with troubling news. New metalheads are arriving, even after Kor's death. The war didn't end with the Baron, and it didn't end with Kor. What happened was it escalated, and somehow Jak is being blamed for all of it. Another flashback reveals the rumors spreading through the city. Jak's association with Crew may have allowed the metalheads to infiltrate Haven. Guilt by association in the eyes of the people. While explosions rock the palace, Torn arrives just in time to pull Jak and the others out before everything collapses. Haven City is in chaos, and a hero has been cast out. Back in the present, the desert shows no mercy. The trio collapses from exhaustion. They're surrounded by Wastelanders, led by a man named Damas and his right-hand warrior Cleaver. The tracking beacon Ashton gave Jak is what led them here. Damas needs answers. Who are you? Where did you come from? Why is Haven City throwing you away? With nowhere else to go, Jak and his friends are taken inside the Wastelander settlement. A new home, a new conflict, and a story, whether Jak realizes it or not, is far more personal than exile.
I love water. Oh yes. It's so good. Desert Dad. Well, you've come back from the dead, have you? And my monks were ready to pray for you. I am Damus, king of Spargus.
Spargus? Wait, nobody lives outside Haven's walls. Not a whole city.
Ah yes, we are the Forgotten Ones. Haven City's refuse, thrown out and left to die, just as you were. But now that you have been saved, your life belongs to the people of Spargus, and we will use it well, if it's actually worth anything.
Hey, that sounds like a bad deal.
You are in no position to deal. Out here, everything is either useful or dead weight. Prove yourselves worthy, or the desert will be your grave.
You need to work on making a better first impression.
In the unforgiving Wasteland, we value strength and survival above all. We will see where you stand soon enough. Complete your training, then enter the arena. Just the bravest crawl out and are allowed to stay in Spargus. It's quite simple, really.
What happens to the ones that don't crawl out?
Then it will be as if we never found you.
I was afraid of that.
Jak and Daxter are brought into Spargus City, and here weakness is not tolerated, and power earns respect. We quickly learn that Pecker has positioned himself as Damas's advisor, acting as the ruler's translator and right hand. But even Pecker seems unsure about what lies ahead. Damas makes one thing clear: if Jak wants to survive in Spargus, he'll have to prove himself in the arena. The Wasteland doesn't hand out mercy, it tests you. Jak is thrown into the arena and forced to fight for his life against waves of enemies. It's raw, it's violent, and it's public. And in the middle of battle, Dark Jak emerges. The crowd senses it, Damas senses it, power fueled by dark eco. Damas immediately questions what he's witnessing, and Jak is forced to explain the experiments, the injection, and the transformation. This isn't natural, it was forced upon him. During the chaos, Jak notices a mysterious monk watching him closely. Not afraid, not impressed, just observing. But before Jak can approach them, the monk disappears. When the dust settles, Damas isn't disturbed by Jak's darker side. He's intrigued. In Spargus, power isn't feared, it's useful. For his victory, Jak earns his first battle amulet. Damas explains that if he wins 2 more, he'll earn full citizenship in Spargus, and with it, a place in the Wasteland. He's also granted a gate pass, allowing him to travel freely between the city and the desert. As a reward, he receives a new blaster modification, reinforcing that survival here means upgrading your tools. As Jak exits the arena, Cleaver approaches. He lays out the power structure of Spargus and makes one thing crystal clear. In this city, you earn your status through action, not reputation. He gives Jak a job: capture desert buggies to improve Spargus' racing fleet. Jak complies, completing the task and earning Cleaver's respect. But even after the victory, Jak's mind is elsewhere, because he spots the monk again, the same one who watched him in the arena. This time, he follows.
Check out these funny dudes, huh? Nice threads. I didn't know rubber was back in. What are you working on, monk boy?
It is none of your concern, animal.
Look, coloring book, we've had a hard week. Don't push it.
The arena shows all, Dark One. Hate consumes your eyes.
Great. Thanks for the tip.
It will destroy you, just as these precursors destroyed themselves.
It doesn't look like any precursor crap we've seen.
These artifacts are an abomination. One fell on the great volcano. We sent an expedition to the mountain, but my monks never returned. Ill tidings sing in the wind. I fear the remaking of the world is at hand.
I think you've been out in the sun a little too long. Let's go, Jak.
You must leave this place. Heroes think they can save the world when they themselves are lost. You could not possibly understand the dark forces at work here.
Don't talk to me about dark powers. I want to know what this is. Stand back.
After assisting the monk, Jak activates an ancient satellite, unlocking a cache of eco-crystals in the process. The monk explains that eco-crystals have been passed down through time. They are the foundation of precursor technology, the power source behind the greatest creations of the world. This isn't just energy, it's legacy. As the satellite powers on, strange symbols begin to appear across the surface. The monk studies it carefully, translating what he can. He claims the message speaks of reclaiming this unfinished world. That phrase lingers, unfinished. But when Jak looks closer, he notices something different. The symbols resembles coordinates. Before he can piece it together, the monk cuts him off, shifting the conversation towards a powerful signal emanating from deep within the wasteland. And then, suddenly, the satellite launches into the sky and explodes. The monk's tone shifts. They tell Jak plainly he cannot save them from what's coming, and whatever is unfolding is not their business. They warn Jak and Daxter to stay out of it, but of course, that's not how this story works. Staying in Spargus, Jak compliments Cleaver's fleet of desert vehicles, brutal machines built for survival deep within the wasteland. Cleaver explains these rides aren't for show. They're used for dangerous runs in the deep desert to recover ancient artifacts. Curious, Jak asks to use one. Cleaver makes him a deal, a race. If Jak wins, he can keep one of the rides as long as he lives. If he loses, Daxter becomes Orange Lightning Stew. Classic Spargus diplomacy. Jak accepts, and against expectations, he wins. Daxter avoids becoming dinner, and the duo earns a vehicle that finally allows them to explore the desert properly. Mobility changes everything. When they return, the Mar sends them on a serious mission: recover artifacts from a deadly stretch of the wasteland. He warns them the area is unforgiving, and he isn't exaggerating. Jak and Daxter retrieve the artifacts and return successful, proving once again that they are more than just refugees, they're assets. Impressed with their resilience, the Mar rewards Jak with something far more symbolic than weapons or upgrades: the Armor of Mar.
Good work. That was close.
Oh, are you beginning to care? Demos says...
My concern was for the artifacts, and we will use them well. That armor you found, it is very rare indeed. Pecker here says it's the very armor Mar once wore in his battles for this planet long ago. Keep it for yourself. Trust me, you'll need it.
After proving himself once again, Jak crosses paths with the monks, and this time their tone shifts.
This isn't a game.
They warn him, which of course immediately turns into a race. Jak competes against the monks and wins. For his victory, they reward him with something far more significant than praise: a light eco crystal. They explain that when combined with dark eco, it creates immense energy, balanced through opposition, not destruction, not corruption, complete control. The monk begins speaking about death casually, philosophically, inevitably, and this unsettles Jak. Frustrated, he asks why they seem so obsessed with it. The monk doesn't answer directly. They simply point to the sky, and there it is, the day star, slowly approaching, glowing brighter with each passing day. The monk explains what that means. The planet is dying. Time is running out. Back in the wasteland, Jak reunites with Cleaver and pushes back against the metalheads that have begun spreading deeper into Spargus territory. After eliminating the group, Jak discovers something unsettling: a transmission device. Jak destroys it immediately brushing it off with sarcastic remark about hating that guy's voice, but he doesn't fully process what it implies. Someone is communicating with the metalheads, and they're gathering Dark Eco for something bigger. They return to Damas, and Jak is sent back to the arena. To Damas and Pecker's surprise, Jak not only survives again, he dominates. He rewards him with his second battle amulet. One more and he will officially be recognized as a Wastelander. The outsider is becoming one of them. Outside the palace, Cleaver meets Jak again, and Damas assigns another task: herd desert leapers to prepare Spargus for whatever threat lies ahead. Even Damas can feel something building. After completing the task, Cleaver is impressed enough to reward Jak with access to the Big Wheels, a more powerful vehicle capable of traversing deeper in desert terrain. Mobility evolves, exploration expands. With this new vehicle, Jak gains access to the Monk Temple high above the desert cliffs. From there, he glides into a volcanic chamber where he discovers an ancient statue holding a Dark Eco artifact. Upon activating it, Jak gains a new ability: invisibility. This gives him control over how he is seen. Using this ability, he returns to the Monk Temple and finally enters the inner sanctum undetected. Inside, he witnesses a private meeting between a monk and Count Viger.
I want no excuses. You told me this could be done. Now make it so.
But we have so little time. The Daystar approaches. You know what it brings.
Unfortunate, yes. We will deal with that as soon as I have full access to the catacombs. Just continue your work, and I'll deal with those idiots in Haven. I promise, you will meet your makers.
Why are the catacombs so important?
Soon after this, Jak receives a new power after meeting real precursor technology.
Greetings, great warrior. Your return brings us great hope. This planet's future is at a critical juncture. The Dark Ones have found your world again, and fate hangs in the balance where the past and the future collide.
Do you have any idea what he just said? Speak the normal language, okay?
You will need all the power you can muster to survive this terrible test, Great One.
I can handle it.
I was talking to the Tall One, Shorty.
Hey!
Look into the light and receive a power, hero.
Okay, now you're scaring me.
Dax, the Dark Eco. It feels far away. I feel better.
With his newfound light eco abilities, including regeneration, Jak returns to Damas, but Spargus isn't at peace. A massive desert storm is approaching, and several Wastelanders are still stranded beyond the city walls. He does not hesitate. He says Jak. Out in the sand, Jak rides into the storm and manages to save nearly everyone. Nearly. One Wastelander doesn't make it, swallowed by the desert before Jak can reach him, and from the sand, Jak retrieves a Dark Eco crystal, as if the Wasteland itself is stockpiling power. Not long after, a corrupted Dark Eco satellite emerges, and Jak destroys it, barely stabilizing the situation before returning to Spargus. Back in the city, Jak continues proving himself, this time by breaking the turn defense record and pressing Cleaver enough to earn another Light Eco crystal. He's no longer just surviving, he's evolving. It's time for the final arena battle. One last victory will earn Jak his third battle amulet, and with it, full citizenship in Spargus. When the gates open, a familiar figure steps forward. Sig, from Jak 2. The trio is stunned. Sig claims that he's there to test his skills, to hone himself in the arena. But when he raises his weapon towards Jak and Daxter, he hesitates and lowers it. He can't do it. The confrontation is brought before Damas, and before the tone shifts, Damas grills Sig for weakness, accuses him of going soft, then turns his frustration towards Jak and Daxter, reminding them that Spargus is not a sanctuary, it's earned. At first, Damas considers banishing them, but he reveals something critical. Sig's been operating as a spy in Haven City, and because of that service, Damas will show restraint. Instead of exile, he assigns punishment. Jak and Sig must ride into the desert and destroy a metalhead nest threatening Spargus. No ceremony, no mercy, just survival. The two complete the mission, proving their worth not just through strength, but through loyalty, and Damas grants them mercy. But the trust, that's still fragile. Shortly after, Jak receives a transmission. It's from Ashlyn. She asks him to meet her at the Oasis. Jak rides out alone. When they reunite, the tension is immediate. Ashlyn tells him Haven City is losing the war. The metalheads are overwhelming them. The Crimson Guard is stretched thin. She needs him to come back, not as an exile, as a savior. Before Jak can fully respond, Wastelanders appear, hostile to Haven's presence in the territory. Jak is forced to defend both himself and Ashlyn. Once the fight ends, the real confrontation begins. Ashlyn asks him again, come home. But Spargus is no longer a place of exile, it's becoming something else to Jak. So he does the unthinkable. He tells Ashlyn, no.
Kira wanted me to give you this. Jak, your friends need you. I need you.
The city threw me out, remember? They can rot for all I care.
But what about your...
Get it! Just leave. I have new friends now.
So the hero I knew did die in the desert? Or was it long before that? Don't you remember who you are?
I'm through saving the world.
With the Seal of Mar in his possession, Jak returns to the Monk Temple. For the first time, he's not just exploring it, he belongs there. Using the seal, he unlocks a sealed chamber, one that had remained closed to him before. The deeper he travels into the temple, the more ancient and deliberate the architecture becomes. This isn't just a ruin, it's a test. The Oracle greets him once more, and this time grants him a new light eco ability, time manipulation. Jak can now slow the world around him. Bullets stretch, platforms stabilize, chaos becomes manageable. It's not just power, like I said, it's all about control. Using this ability, Jak navigates the temple's deadliest obstacles and descends into its lowest chamber. There he discovers something unexpected, a vehicle, and a hidden path. Pekka receives a transmission from Onin, revealing that the catacombs hold the key to the planet's survival. That message changes everything. This isn't about exile anymore, this is about extinction. At the temple's deepest point, a precursor appears. No longer a distant myth, but an active force. The precursor warns Jak of what lies ahead and grants him yet another light eco ability, a shield, protection against the storm that's coming. Armed with new power, Jak follows the hidden path, leading him towards Haven City. He emerges near the old eco mine, and here something clicks. Jak realizes that when Mar built Haven City, he didn't just construct it above ground. He carved out these ancient caves, tapping directly into eco-reserves buried deep beneath the surface. The city was built on that power, literally. As Jak progresses through the mine, he uncovers leg armor, another relic of Mar's legacy, reinforcing the idea that Jak's journey is far more than a coincidence. He then escorts a volatile bomb train through the collapsing tunnels, using it to blast open a sealed passageway deeper into the catacombs. And beyond that door, he finally confronts the truth. Count Veigar, no longer operating in the shadows, no longer pretending. Here, Jak learned Veigar's true plan and how deeply he's been manipulating the events from the beginning.
The monks told me you were coming through the precursor subrails. Interesting, aren't they? The precursors used them to build the world countless eons ago. The rail system leads deep into the planet, where it's said the Ancient Ones wait to bestow unimaginable powers upon the worthy. I will save the world with that power, just as Mar did.
Yeah, you've done a great job so far, letting the metalheads destroy the palace.
Oh, you couldn't be more mistaken, dear boy. We're on a time clock, Jak. That light in the sky, do you know what it is? Our nightmare has found us and the end is coming. I needed quick access to the catacombs below, so I attacked the palace myself. It will be our little secret.
Well, you're full of surprises.
And you're full of dark eco. You and your rat are an abomination. But I will rid the planet of this scourge soon enough.
Pure light will rule the universe, and I will be the bright light that shines to every corner of the world and destroys all shadows!
Excuse me, Count Vulgar.
It's Vega!
Yeah, whatever. Isn't it kind of nice just to curl up in the shade sometimes? Just chilling it, watching the hot babes prance around in their skimpy little bikinis. You know, just how they jiggle. I get that special tingling feeling in my tail.
Enough! We will stop the cleansing of the world with your demise. Behold, I now command the very power of the Ancient One! And this time, the Precursors will not have mercy on you.
Jak defeats Vega's robotic guardian and earns the Arc Wielder upgrade for his blaster, a weapon mod that channels electricity through enemies. And just like that, Jak and Daxter are back in Haven City. But this isn't the Haven they left. Their first stop is Samos and Kira. Samos is relieved to see Jak alive, but there's no time for sentiment. Jak informs them that Count Vega was responsible for the palace attack. He wasn't acting randomly. He was searching for something beneath the city, the catacombs. Samos explains that if Jak wants to reach the source of Vega's plan, he'll need to get past the massive shield dividing the city, and the only way through is the sewers. No grand entrance, just grime, darkness, and resistance. Jak fights his way through the underbelly of Haven, carving a path towards the other side of the barrier. From there, the duo heads somewhere more familiar, the Naughty Otzel, Daxter's bar. Only it's different. Torn has taken over operations. The place has changed. Less humor, more war room energy. Torn apologized for what happened for Vega, for the exile, and for how everything spiraled. But this isn't about regret. Jak tells him the truth. Vega is trying to activate precursor technology, and if he succeeds, it won't just be Haven at risk. As Torn briefs him on the city's deteriorating state, alarms suddenly blare. Blast bots are inbound, headed straight for the Naughty Otzel. Jak steps outside and takes him down with efficiency. No hesitation, no spectacle. He's not the exile anymore. He's a warrior. After the fight, Jak attempts to make contact with Wasteland, but the reunion doesn't go the way we expect.
Wasteland, this is Torn. Jak's back in the city.
Jak? I knew I could count on you.
That new KG leader's probably pissing in his... Wait, someone's jamming the signal. I think... Errol.
I live! Still fighting for the weak link, Jak? Well, I've had a few enhancements since we last met. Even the metalheads have their biological weakness. But me? I'm pure metal. I'd love to meet you again. We must unite our forces or we're through. You've got to reach us, Jak.
We need you to break through and link up with us before it's too late. The KG robots are growing stronger. That floating warp factory of theirs is spitting out more robots every day.
We need to assault the KG front. If we can break through their defenses, we may be able to get back to HQ and link up. Care to make some noise, Jak?
We're always up for a little rumble. Hey, Dax?
Fish in a barrel, baby. Fish in a barrel.
With the city divided by a massive barrier, Daxter unexpectedly takes the lead, remotely guiding a missile to destroy it. It's chaotic, it's reckless, and somehow, it works. Back to the Naughty Otzel, Torn wastes no time. Haven is under constant pressure and there's no room for celebration. First objective is to take out the sniper cannons positioned across the city. Jak clears them easily. Then comes the real target, the Metalhead Hive beneath Haven. Inside the hive, Jak and Daxter destroy massive dark eco tanks fueling the infestation, but something unexpected happens. With the tanks destroyed, Jak feels it. The more they destroy, the more control he seems to have over his darker side. The power that wants to find him is fading. It's no time to process it. Torn contacts him again. Jinx is preparing to destroy several eco-grid nodes using bombs, and he needs protection. Jak escorts Jinx through the hostile zones, defending him while explosives are planted and detonated. The city trembles. Jinx praises Jak's efficiency. Torn acknowledges his value. Haven isn't just surviving because of him, it's stabilizing. Torn brings the worst news yet. The Metalheads and the Crimson Guard have formed an alliance. 2 enemies, 1 objective. Haven City. Jak heads to the front lines. No stealth, no subtlety, just raw defense. He fights in open combat to protect the civilians, pushing back wave after wave. Ashton issues another order: hijack an eco-powered war vehicle. And Jak, like always, complies. In the chaos, the Naughty Oso sign is struck by gunfire. The mascot head is blasted clean off, leading head-on into the pitchfork. It's a dark symbolic moment, but Haven is changing. With the city temporarily stabilized, Jak returns to Spargus. There, Sig approaches him with a proposition: another desert run, another artifact retrieval. But this time, Sig reveals something more personal. He knows the location of power eco-crystals buried within the metalhead nest. The two ride out together. Inside the nest, they destroy the infestation and secure the crystals. And afterwards, Sig finally comes clean. His time in Haven City wasn't random. He had a mission, and it wasn't just survival.
Yeah, baby! I love the smell of burnt metal here. This is good practice for when the spit hits the fan. And trust me, it's coming.
What's Daimler's got to do with Haven City, Sig?
None of your business.
What was all that spying you did? Huh?
Let's just say Damus lost a little something in the city and he wanted me to fight. What do you care, man? Haven folk are a bunch of weaklings, you know that. They'd already lost the war before it started. Luckily, Damus has a plan to make sure we all survive.
You're playing with people's lives.
Why not? They played with mine. Survival of the fittest, baby. I suggest you get with the program and be on the winning side.
And which side is that?
The one on top of the pile. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a big pile.
Yeah, a big pile of shit. I caught this.
So now what?
Just keep your nose clean and stay sharp. I'll tell you when the action's coming.
Back in Haven City, the war effort intensifies. At the Naughty Oso, Jinx arrives with an idea, and exactly the kind of reckless ingenuity the Resistance needs. He's captured by a blast bot and reprogrammed it, remote controlled. Torn immediately sees the opportunity. Haven's defense line has cut off contact with HQ. Communications are down. Coordination is failing. If they can breach the blockade, they can reconnect the city. Using a hijacked blast bot, Jak punches a hole straight through the enemy line. The explosion rips open the path, and for the first time in a while, HQ is back online. The Resistance reconnects, and for the first time since Jak's exile, the key players stand together again. The fractured alliances begin to realign, but there's no time to celebrate. HQ comes under immediate assault.
Hello, fellow peeps and cronies. That's right, the Daxternator is back in the building.
Daxter, Jak, you did it!
It's about time you two got here. What took you so long?
Sorry, we only had a war in the way.
Great work, Jak. Let me be the first to officially apologize for the city.
Forget about it. I've got my own interest in this.
Well, what we know right now is there's a huge dark planet builder bearing down on us all. How much time we have, no one can guess. If it is rogue precursor technology, then the only way to destroy it is with more precursor technology. And that lies at the bottom of the catacombs.
Also, the large number of eco-crystals being moved about can mean only one thing. Someone is trying to awaken vast precursor technology.
I think Vigor's behind it. Or Errol. Or maybe...
Oh! Wait till you hear about my adventures in the Wasteland. So there I was, facing a whole brood of slobbering metalheads, when all of a sudden... Uh-oh.
It looks like a large-scale assault. Multiple targets inbound. You up for some action, Jak?
Look who you're talking to. Let's rock and roll, Dax.
Jak and Daxter defend the command center from the waves of attackers, holding the line as Haven teeters on collapse. And then, later on, Count Vigor finally steps out of the shadows. No longer a distant manipulator, no longer hiding behind politics, he appears expecting authority, expecting control, but instead, he's met with hostility, distrust, and a room full of people who no longer believes a word he says. Vigor's influence over Haven is slipping, but that doesn't mean his plan is finished.
Got to lead an expedition into the catacombs.
Please, let us not be too hasty. Are you sure you want this dark eco freak contaminating the hallowed halls of our glorious precursors? I should lead the expedition myself.
We're tired of your scheming, Vigor.
I've got the answer you're looking for. My precursor monks have given me the knowledge to turn on the planetary defense grid, if you beg me to do so.
Jak's always gotten us through thick and thin. I'm with him.
Here, here!
You're washed up, vegan.
Viga! It's Viga, you idiot!
Whatever.
Count Viger, I hereby dissolve the City Council and strip you of your title, command, and all privileges. Now get out of my sight.
What? How dare you! I offered you mercy, but now you will all burn in the precursor fires of creation. I swear it.
That was one hell of an attack wave. We can't continue to repel such large assaults forever. That floating war factory has got to be shut down. The problem is, the factory is shielded and has gate codes on every access point. Most old KG door ciphers were kept hidden in the main system at the power room. If you can break into the system, you may be able to unlock the war factory doors to get inside.
Onan says the eco-grid in the power room could help you. But to open the old power room, you must find the junction box in the sewer. Personally, I think you're crazy to go down there. But, good luck.
Jak and Daxter fight their way through the sewers once more, pushing deeper beneath Haven until they reach the power control system. They flip the switch, access to the power room is restored. From there, they head straight to the power station and discover something unexpected. Vin, or what's left of him. Before his death, Vin uploaded his consciousness into Haven's central network. Now existing as a digital presence, he informs the duo that the access code to the war factory is protected by the city's core system. There's only one way to retrieve it. They have to go inside. Vin uploads Jak and Daxter into the system itself, a surreal digital space resembling a massive Pac-Man-like maze guarded by hostile data constructs. Jak wins, the code is secured, and they transmit this code to Torn. And just like that, the path to the war factory is open. Back at HQ, Torn makes one thing clear. He has questions. Why are the Metalheads and the Crimson Guard working together? What is Viger truly after? And who's pulling the strings behind this war machine? There's only one way to find out. Destroy it. Jak and Daxter ride out and storm the war factory, blasting through its outer defenses before fighting their way inside. The deeper they go, the more industrial and mechanical it becomes. Less invasion, more production. It's not just a war, it's manufacturing. And at the end of it, Arrow. No longer the fallen commander from Jak 2, now reborn as Cyber Arrow, fused with machinery, driven by revenge.
I found some new friends to help me conquer this puny little planet.
You're talking to the Darkmakers.
It seems my digital self can communicate with these poor, tortured minds quite well. Oh, they're just like you and me, Jak. Well, me at least. They want a home, someone to call a friend, destruction of all my ego. They volunteered to help me put this puny planet out of its misery.
You're in for a big surprise. The Darkmakers don't play nicely with others. Just ask the Metalheads.
I've been given the opportunity to wield a power even the precursors could not control. Don't fret. You won't live to see what I turn this little world into. Maybe a rock, or a floating puddle of slag, or nothing at all. Complete oblivion. So hard to choose.
I won't let you do this.
The fight is brutal. Metal against eco, machine against balance, and Jak ultimately defeats them. But as Arrow falls, a massive explosion tears through the facility. The blast separates the duo. Through the chaos, Jak secures a light eco crystal before escaping the collapsing factory. They make it back to HQ, battered but alive. Then Jak reconnects with Samos, Onan, Torn, and even Arrow's lingering threat is discussed. The war factory is destroyed, but the real enemy is still moving.
We took it to that robot goon and kicked his nuts and bolts.
Arrow got away, but we shut down his robot factory.
That's good, but it is troubling to see what Errol is doing. I fear he may be trying to awaken that terrible dark ship before we can destroy it.
Onan says the Precursors and Darkmakers have fought over worlds for as long as time has turned. It would not be the first time a planet was lost to those monsters. Well, it's not gonna be this planet. We've lasted this long. We've just gotta find a way to destroy that thing. The truth lies at the bottom of the catacombs. That's where I need to go.
After the destruction of the war factory, Jak returns once again to the monk temple. The oracle greets him, and this time the gift is transcendent. Light eco wings, the ability to fly, not glide, not hover, fly. With this new power, Jak ascends to heights previously unreachable and meets the mysterious monk once more. The monk reveals something chilling. Arrow has learned how to connect with the Darkmaker's ship. If he fully synchronizes with it, the destruction won't be limited to Haven. It will be planetary. But the monks haven't been idle. They reveal they successfully hid the most important artifact of all, the time map. It looks identical to the one from Jak 2. Not coincidence, legacy. They hand it over to Jak as a gesture of trust, and then, almost casually, the monk thanks Daxter for allowing them to see the faces of their creators. It's a strange line that lingers, but before Jak can process it, the Mar contacts him. Massive Darkmaker movements have been spotted over the waters near Spargus, and Spargus needs his best gunner. Jak returns and mans the turret as Darkmaker war machines descend from the sky. The assault is relentless, mechanical, and calculated. Jak holds the line, and Spargus survives. Afterward, the Mar speaks differently, not as a king, but as a father figure. He awards Jak his final war amulet, full Wastelander, no longer in exile.
You did it, Jak. This victory is a sign of possibility. Times are grim, but when I was the leader of Haven City, times seemed grim then too. Take hope. Even the smallest weed finds shelter within the rocks.
Wait, you were once the leader of Haven City?
I came to the throne during the middle of the Metalhead Wars. Baron Praxis betrayed me and banished me to the Wasteland. The rest you know. Anyway, here is your third and final battle amulet. You are one of us now. That war amulet is a beacon. If ever you need us, use it to call, and we will be there. And from me, a welcoming gift. This rare precursor armor is said to have been worn by Mar himself. I was saving it for my own son, but right now, you should wear it in this difficult time.
Thanks. I don't have anything for you.
You give us all hope, Jak. That is gift enough. Welcome to the clan.
Back in Haven City, Samos begins piecing together the bigger picture. The Astral Viewer wasn't just a telescope, it was a gateway. With the Darkmakers corrupting South Haven Forge, Jak clears the infestation and installs the time map into the rightful place. When he activates it, a beam of light echo strikes his face. He's linked, connected to the Darkmaker ship itself. Suddenly, Jak's inside the enemy system, controlling a Darkmaker bot from within. He destroys the ship's shield defenses, destabilizing its protection grid. Then, he snaps back to reality, trying to comprehend what just happened. Back at HQ, Ashton pushes for decisive action. Arrow must be stopped. She formulates a plan. Torn and Jinx will drive an explosive laden vehicle straight into the Metalhead sector. Jak and Daxter need to provide cover. The detonation blows open the nest. The duo pushes inside, fighting through waves of metalheads until they reach Arrow once more.
Your friends have come to see me off. I'd love to stay and chat, but I have an appointment with the most powerful beings in the universe.
You're through, Metal Monkey! Don't make me come over there and sick Jak on you.
You're too late. I've already awakened the Darkmaker ship. When I come back, I will be wielding the very power of the precursors. I'll see you boys soon.
Look at that, it's cool. It's amazing. It's reacting to the dark stuff. Ah, it's gonna blow!
Let's get out of here!
Afterward, Samos and Onan deliver the final warning. Something ancient has awakened beneath the catacombs. Onan insists Pekka must guide them. Jak descends the ruins, breaking through ancient walls and collapsing chambers. But before they can reach the core, Damas arrives, driving a massive dozer straight into the ruins to protect them. For a moment, it feels heroic, until a massive fireball erupts from the darkness, flipping the dozer violently. Silence follows, and in that moment, the biggest plot reveal of the entire game is exposed.
Damos!
Not bad driving, kid. It was a good fight. And a good day to die. I'm very proud to have been by your side in the end. This world is not yet out of heroes.
We did well together. Don't move, Al.
Please, promise me one thing. Promise me you'll find my son, Mar. You'll know him when you see this. He's wearing an amulet just like it. A symbol of our lineage with the great House of Mar. Save the people, Jak. They need you.
Father. Yes, you were that child. I took you from Deimos, hoping to harness your eco powers for my experiments. Then I lost you to the underground. You seem upset. Did I tell you too late? You were the son of the great warrior Deimos. Oh, and he never knew. How delightful.
Ah! Bigger!
Thank you for opening the door to the precursors. Don't worry, I'll be back to put you out of your misery.
After him, Jak!
You're willing to go down there? Without a fuss this time.
Yeah, well, don't get used to it. It's just that nobody hurts my best friend and lives to brag about it. Let's get him!
The duo rockets through the catacombs on ancient rails, racing toward the precursor core. Everything converges here. They reach the Oracle, and that's when the final revelation unfolds. The precursors. The ancient beings worshipped for centuries, the architects of civilization, the creators of Dark Eco, and at this moment, Jak and Daxter, along with Count Vigor, come face to face.
Before it is too late, you must power up the planet's defense system. The ecosphere has begun its energy conversion. It will take some time for the weapon to fully charge. You have proven your worth, warrior. We grant you the gift of evolution. The honor of becoming one of us.
Step aside! I will be the one who evolves into a precursor. The right is mine!
Be careful what you wish for.
It is done. Don't worry, Jak. It is for the greater good that I assume this role.
Even now, it may be too late. If Errol awakens the dark ship's cargo, all will be lost.
Listen, Glow Boy, we've been doing all your dirty work while you slept in the stars, so stop it!
Inefficient. I told you we needed a backup hero. We should have gone with Plan B. Ow! Hey, cut it out! We are unhappy with your performance. If you had been a true hero, you would have stopped Errol by now.
Oh my god.
Yes, well, now we are even more angry, and we order you to avert your eyes, or we will,
Oh, bother.
They look like me?
Not what you expected.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Don't look so upset. If you knew we precursors were a bunch of little fuzzy rats, would you worship us? Could we run the universe?
Not possible, buddy.
So, we fluff up the myth a bit.
And we get the respect we deserve.
You idiots! Get down from there and stop defiling that glorious machine!
Do not let our size fool you. We are the most powerful beings in the universe.
We are?
What does Daxter look like?
Ah, yes. All eco contains the source of our essence. Our code, so to speak. When Daxter touched the Dark Eco, he was actually blessed when he thought he was cursed.
Woohoo! I'm a precursor! I'm a precursor! I'm a precursor! Hey, wait a minute! They have pants!
These creatures are the great precursors? And I wanted to evolve into the... No!
A little drafty, isn't it?
The only way to ensure that Errol will not awaken the ship's cargo is to go there yourself and stop him. We will send you there from here.
But the weapon...
Chill out, buddy. You should have Mondale minutes to go there and get back here pronto. I mean, way before the...
Hopefully before.
Ba-boom! Oh, yeah!
Let's move.
You idiots. I told you we needed a plan B.
With only 5 minutes remaining, Jak launches himself towards the Darkmaker ship. 5 minutes, that's all he has. He tears through the corridors of mechanical enemies, cutting down Darkmakers as the countdown looms. This isn't a mission anymore, it's an extinction event. At the heart of the ship, Errol. Again. Clinging to power, fused with machinery, obsessed with control, Jak lunges. The fight spills across collapsing platforms as the ship destabilizes. Errol attempts to escape taking the sky, but Jak now has his light eco wings. He ascends. He catches Daxter mid-fall as the ship erupts behind them. The dark ship explodes in the sky, but it's not over, at least not yet. Errol survives the crash, broken, burning, still raging. In the desert wreckage, Jak and Errol face each other one last time. They fight through the debris, through Errol's final defenses until Jak lands the final shot. Errol falls for good, and the dust settles. Jak and Daxter stand victorious once more. The Darkmakers are defeated, the war is ended, the world is saved again, and this brings the story to a close.
Thank you, brave people of this planet. Onan, Samos, and all. Your strength and wisdom in these dark times give us reason to fight on.
My life's work, it turns out, was spent searching for a bunch of furballs.
Onan says it is a great day for the universe.
Jak, you are the greatest of heroes. You have turned the tide against the Darkmakers, and together we will win this war.
But dude, there are like way more challenges in the future.
Or was it the past?
Yes, I was getting to that.
More adventures? Where have I heard that before?
We need heroes like you to help us protect the universe, Jak.
Then you can call me by my first name, by what my father called me, Mar.
Wait, Jak is Mar? The Mar?
Come then, Mar. No time like the present.
You coming, Dax?
I got all I need right here, baby. But if you need me, and I know you will, you know where to find me.
Oh, Daxter, my little hero.
We owe you much, Daxter, for all you've done. For your bravery in the face of incredible danger, we shall grant you your deepest desire.
You know, I could really use a snazzy pair of pants, like yours.
Wow, those are sharp. I wish I had a pair just like that.
Be careful what you wish for.
Don't worry, honey. You get used to it. Oh, and you may want to shave some parts. Trust me on that.
Hey! Thanks for everything, partner.
You are a great hero, Daxter.
This is gonna be good. They think I'm a god. And they're right.
Our hero!
This is going to be a long trip.
Where do you think you're going, little bugger? I've decided I want my own sidekick, and you've been nominated. We're gonna be a great team. Just don't make me angry.
Are you ready, Jak? We have something to show you.
What?
The universe.
I couldn't leave you, Dax. With all our adventures ahead, you wouldn't last a second without me.
Ah, what a team we are!
Yeah, well, the next adventure, I call the shots. Put it in, partner. Ah! Psych! Oh, yeah. Life is good.
Jak 3 is not confused. It's conflicted, and there's a difference. When people ask, what is Jak 3 even about, they usually point to the structure. You start the desert, then you're back in Haven, then you're fighting Dark Makers, then suddenly precursors are Ossels, then Arrow comes back, then there's the time map, then Mar lore. On paper, it is scattered. But thematically, it's actually the cleanest game in the trilogy because Jak 3 is about one thing: identity. At its core, Jak 3 is about a man trying to understand who he is and who he chooses to be. Jak 2 was about rage. It was about trauma, betrayal, dark ego corruption, a silent hero learning to speak through anger. Jak 3 takes that anger and asks, now what? He's been exiled, blamed for a war, turned into a weapon, rejected by the city he once saved. So the desert isn't random. Spargus isn't random. The exile matters because Jak 3 is stripping him of Haven City, the place that defined him so he can define himself. And that's why Deimos is so important. Deimos isn't just a king. He represents structure, honor, strength without ego, a different model of leadership. And what does Jak spend most of his time doing? Earning his place. Not demanding it, not rebelling against it, earning it. Battle ambulance, citizenship, responsibility.
Your bravery has earned you your first battle amulet. If you are victorious in 2 more arena fights, you will earn your citizenship to Spargus. Here is a gate pass to allow free passage in and out of the city. But beware, there is no true refuge outside our walls. The desert is less kind than I. And for your victory, a gun mod is your prize.
Oh, yeah, now we're talking. Hey, what do I get? Nothing, as usual.
While Haven City collapses under politics and manipulation, Spargus runs on merit and loyalty. That contrast is intentional. Haven is built on secrets and precursor mythology. Spargus is built on survival and truth, and Jak stands between both worlds. At times, it feels like 2 games instead of 1. That's not accidental. Jak 3 splits its world because Jak is split. He has light ego, he has dark ego. He's in Haven, he's in Spargus. One second he's Mar, the next second he's exiled. The structure mirrors the character. Now here's where it gets deeper. The game introduces Dark Makers, corrupted precursors twisted by dark ego. And what is Jak? Someone infused with dark ego, but not consumed by it. Someone who learns to balance dark and light. He's literally the thematic answer to the conflict. The Dark Makers are what happens when dark ego wins. Jak is what happens when balance wins. That's not messy storytelling, that's symbolic storytelling.
Fine, hero. The crystal is yours. The 2 types, light and dark, when combined form great energies. Be careful with them. And when you die, do be kind enough to give them back.
I don't plan on it.
Now let's move on to the bigger layer. Where does Jak 3 fit in this trilogy? Jak and Daxter was innocent. Jak 2 was corruption. Jak 3 was integration. The first game introduces eco as power. The second game weaponizes it. The third game reconciles it. Jak 3 is a reconciliation chapter. It's not trying to reinvent the formula like Jak 2 did, it's trying to close it. And that's why the precursor reveal, as controversial as it is, makes thematic sense. The gods aren't towering beings, they're flawed, small, and hidden.
You would have stopped Errol by now.
Oh my god.
Yes, well, now we are even more angry, and we order you to avert your eyes, or we will,
Oh, bother.
They look like me?
Not what you expected.
Yeah, we get that a lot.
Don't look so upset. If you knew we precursors were a bunch of little fuzzy rats, would you worship us? Could we run the universe?
Not possible, buddy.
So, we fluff up the myth a bit.
And we get the respect we deserve.
You idiots! Get down from there and stop defiling that glorious machine!
Do not let our size fool you. We are the most powerful beings in the universe.
We are?
Why does Daxter look like?
Ah, yes. All eco contains the source of our essence, our code, so to speak. When Daxter touched the dark eco, he was actually blessed when he thought he was cursed.
Woohoo! I'm a precursor! I'm a precursor! I'm a precursor! Hey! Wait a minute! They have pants!
These creatures are the great precursors? And I wanted to evolve into the... No!
A little drafty, isn't it?
The only way to ensure that Errol will not awaken the ship's cargo is to go there yourself and stop him. We will send you there from here.
But the weapon...
Chill out, buddy. You should have Mondale minutes to go there and get back here pronto. I mean, way before the...
Hopefully before.
Ba-boom! Oh, yeah!
Let's move.
You idiots. I told you we needed a plan B.
But here's where the conversation gets messy. Because for as thematically strong as Jak 3 is, it's not airtight. And over the years, fans have pointed out several inconsistencies, moments where the story feels rushed, retconned, or underexplained. Let's take this time to talk about them, because there are a lot of plot holes and structural cracks. The biggest one? Deimos. More specifically, why does nobody tell Jak that Deimos is his father? We know Deimos was once ruler of Haven City. We know he lost his son. We know Jak is the heir to Haven. We know the kid from Jak 2 is Jak. So the obvious question becomes, wouldn't Ashlyn know? Wouldn't Sig know? Wouldn't someone connect the dots? Jak even hears Deimos say he once ruled Haven, that he lost his son, and Jak barely reacts.
Times are grim, but when I was the leader of Haven City, times seemed grim then too. Take hope. Even the smallest weed finds shelter within the rocks.
Wait, you were once the leader of Haven City?
I came to the throne during the middle of the Metalhead Wars. Baron Praxis betrayed me and banished me to the Wasteland. The rest, you know.
No suspicion, not a wait a minute, nothing. Now, there are possible explanations. Maybe Ashlyn didn't know the full truth about the kid. Maybe Sig never knew who Deimos' son actually was. Maybe Vigor was the only one who had all the information. But the game never clarifies that. And when something that major hinges on withheld information, it feels less like mystery and more like narrative convenience. Then there's the council issue. Jak clearly establishes Haven as a dictatorship under Baron Praxis. Suddenly in Jak 3 we're told there's a powerful city council and is represented almost entirely by Vigor. Ashlyn claims she couldn't stop Jak's banishment because the council is too powerful.
I'm sorry. The council is too powerful. There was nothing I know.
But later in the game, she dissolves the council entirely.
Count Viger, I hereby dissolve the city council and strip you of your title, command, and all privileges. Now get out of my sight.
What? How dare you! I offered you mercy, but now you will all burn in the precursor fires of creation. I swear it.
So the question becomes, why not do that when Jak is banished? Was she politically weak, afraid of a coup, waiting for public opinion to shift? These are all valid headcanon explanations, but again, the game doesn't explain it. And when political structure shifts mid-narrative without setup, it feels retroactively inserted. Another crack fans often point out is when Jak tells Ashlyn he's done saving the world. He's staying in Spargus. He's not going back. And then, the very next mission, he goes back.
Onan says we must get back to Haven City. She says the catacombs are the key to the planet's very survival.
You boys up for a little ride?
No scene, no internal conflict, no conversation with Deimos, no quiet reconsideration. It just happens. And the pacing makes it feel like something was cut. Like there was meant to be a transitional scene that never made it to the final build. That's not a thematic issue. That's an editing issue. Then we get into timeline confusion. If Deimos was ruler of Haven before Praxis, how long ago was that? Because Spargus looks fully established, fortified, and deeply built, not something that sprang up in a few years. So you ask yourself, was the coup recent? Was it decades ago? Was Mar a myth from ancient history, or relatively a recent ruler? The timeline wobbles, not enough to collapse the story, but enough to make you squint at it. Now we have the golden question this game leaves us with. And understand something. Time travel is tricky. When you introduce it into a story, you gain mystery, but you also open the door to paradoxes, contradictions, and narrative landmines. Jak 2 introduced time travel. Jak 3 refuses to close the loop cleanly. And the biggest question that lingers is simple. Is Jak the Mar? Not a descendant, not inspired by, the Mar. And this question has been debated almost as fiercely as what color was that dress? So instead of painting a flag and declaring a winner, let's break down both sides. Because until a developer explicitly confirms it, we're operating with headcanons. Let's start with what the games actually say. Mar is presented as a distant, legendary hero. The founder of Haven City, the chosen of the precursors, the builder of its eco-grid, the architect of its defenses. He's treated as ancient, mythic, historical. Now here's the key detail. Deimos states that Jak was named after Mar. That line matters because if Jak was literally the original Mar, then who named him after himself? That implies Mar already existed as a legend before Jak was ever born, which suggests lineage, not identity. And this is where we enter the realm of paradox. If Jak is literally the original Mar, then we're dealing with something called a bootstrap paradox. The bootstrap paradox happens when something exists without a true point of origin, it loops back on itself. For example, if future Jak goes back in time, becomes Mar, builds Haven City, and then history leads to Jak being born again in that same timeline, then Mar exists because of Jak, and Jak exists because of Mar. There's no starting point, it's a self-creating loop, a story with no origin. Now, this can work, but it requires deliberate narrative structure. One of the cleanest examples of this done well was in Futurama. In Futurama, Fry becomes his own grandfather. The show fully commits to the absurdity and builds the paradox directly into the plot. It addresses it, explains it, and it owns it. Jak 3 never does that. It never explains a cycle. It never shows a time loop reset. It never directly addresses Mar's historical placement relative to Jak, which many argue. If Jak were literally the original Mar, the game would have clarified the mechanics. Instead, it leans on headcanons. Then there's the evidence itself. The Jak is Mar argument relies heavily on symbolism. Jak can wield the artifacts, the armor fits him, the seal responds to him, he shares the same name. But nowhere in the trilogy does a character definitively state, "You are Mar who founded Haven City." Not Deimos, not the precursors, not Samos, not Vigor. The story teases, but it never confirms. And when something this massive is left implied rather than declared, it opens the door to interpretation. There's also a cleaner, canon-friendly explanation. Jak is the heir of Mar, a descendant, someone named after the founder. The seal recognizes him not because he's the founder, but because he carries the bloodline. This interpretation preserves the legend, avoids paradox, and keeps history linear. And it aligns with Deimos naming him after Mar. Now here's the interesting part. The series feels intentionally ambiguous. It gives you just enough breadcrumbs to build the time loop theory, but never enough to canonize it, which suggests one or two possibilities. One, Naughty Dog originally considered the twist and pulled back, or two, they wanted it to remain mythic, not literal. Either way, the Jak is not the original Mar argument rests on one core principle. The game never explicitly says he is. Now, let's look at the other side of the coin. Jak is Mar. The game is absolutely nudging you in that direction hard. First, let's address something important. There has never been official confirmation that a canceled Jak 4 was going to revolve around Jak traveling back in time to become Mar. That idea exists in fan discussion and speculation, but it was never fully confirmed in release developer interviews, so we cannot lean on that as proof. What we can lean on is in-game and cut evidence, and there's a lot of it. In unused dialogue from early script material, Sig references that Mar arrived in their world in a ship called the Time Cutter. Not just a ship, a time machine. That's a massive detail. Mar didn't just appear. He arrived from somewhere. And if Mar arrived through time travel, then suddenly the loop theory isn't absurd, it's supported. There was even early development intent for the Underport to be that ship. Concept art existed for control room. A fully modeled control panel even made it into the game, hidden in the Underport area that most players never noticed. That's not random world building, it's intentional lore groundwork. Now, one of the strongest pieces of evidence is unused voice lines from the palace computer gradually realizing something. It scanned Jak, it says he feels familiar, it welcomes him back to the palace. Eventually, it addresses him as Mar and congratulates him on saving the city. Now yes, you can argue that the system recognizes him as Prince Mar, Deimos' missing son, but the tone of those lines feels older than that, like recognition across time, like the system remembers someone who's already built the city. On a Reddit post, I found someone talking about the design Bible and how it describes Mar's legend as having grown to mythic proportions, and that's important. In the image, it says, "Warrior king and brave founder of Haven City, Mar's legend has grown to mythic proportions. Many say that without him, the world would have been lost to the metalheads long ago. Others believe that Mar was from another time and came to this world through a hole in space, only to leave when his task was complete. Still, others say he carried the power of the precursors with him and even talked with them. It is known that he wielded a mighty sword tipped with a precursor stone, and when Mar fell in battle, the stone was buried in his tomb so its dangerous power would be kept safe until a new leader could emerge." Read that again. From another time, through a hole in space, only to leave when his task was complete. That's not vague, that is symbolic language. That is time travel. And what happens at the end of Jak 3? The precursors offer Jak a ride. They say they're heading somewhere else. They invite him, he declines, but the option is there. And if he had accepted, that line from the design Bible suddenly becomes prophecy. Mar arrives from another time, fulfills his task, leaves. Now, here's where it gets even stronger. The text also says, still others say he carried the power of the precursors with him. Jak is the only character in the trilogy who survives Dark Eco infusion, channels Light Eco with Sage equipment, speaks directly to the precursors, is gifted wings, shield, and time manipulation. Mar is described as wielding precursor power. Jak literally does. Now here's the nuance. The design Bible doesn't say this is confirmed history, it says others believe, which tells us something important. Mar's legend has grown to mythic proportions, meaning history has blurred with storytelling, and that opens to interpretations. The myth exaggerated on a normal ruler, or the myth is remembering a time traveler. The fact that the official material even includes the hole in space language tells us this wasn't accidental fan overreach. That idea existed in development. It was planted. Now, here's the final detail from that image. It says when Mar fell in battle, the stone was buried in his tomb, so its dangerous power would be kept safe until a new leader could emerge. And who emerges? Jak. The seal responds to him, the tomb opens for him, the artifacts activate for him. If Jak isn't Mar, the story goes way out of its way to make him functionally identical to him. And if he is Mar, then the trilogy becomes a closed mythic loop.
Jak, you are the greatest of heroes. You have turned the tide against the Dark Makers, and together we will win this war.
But dude, there are like way more challenges in the future.
Or was it the past?
Yes, I was getting to that.
More adventures? Where have I heard that before?
We need heroes like you to help us protect the universe, Jak.
Then you can call me by my first name, by what my father called me, Mar.
Wait, Jak is Mar? The Mar?
So, is Jak Mar? Here's the truth. We don't know. And that's the point. You can build a strong case that Jak is simply the heir of Mar. You could build an equally strong case that he is the original Mar. Both arguments hold weight. Both arguments have evidence, and neither is definitively confirmed. But here's what matters more than the answer. We are still talking about it. Over 20 years later, people are still debating timelines, still dissecting cut dialogue, still analyzing unused voice lines, still breaking down prophetic poems, still looking at a statue's face and asking, is that him? That's not weak storytelling. That's enduring storytelling. Jak 3 is at its strongest right here in the ambiguity, because the moment you canonize it, one way or the other, the mystery dies, and myths are meant to be solved. They're meant to be passed down. Mar's legend grew to mythic proportions, and maybe that's the real answer. Whether Jak was Mar, or became Mar, or was ever inspired by Mar, the legend continues because we keep debating it, because we keep revisiting it, because the story leaves just enough breadcrumbs for us to keep crawling back and drawing conclusions. And that might be the most powerful thing Jak 3 does. Not its boss fights, not its war sequences, not even its twists, its willingness to leave a question open. And in doing so, it turned a PS2 platformer into a myth. If Jak 2 was Naughty Dog proving they could mature, Jak 3 is them refining the formula. At its core, Jak 3 plays almost identically to its predecessor, a blend of platforming, shooting, racing, and open-ended mission structure. You're given objectives by characters across the world. Sometimes it's defeat a wave of enemies, escort someone, reach a location, solve a puzzle, win a race, survive a defense sequence. And outside of timid missions, you're free to explore the world at your own pace. The structure remains intact, but the world itself, it's expanded. Instead of Haven City being the singular focus, Jak 3 splits its identity across 3 main hubs: Spargus City, the Wasteland, Haven City. Each hub has its own transportation style. In Spargus, you're riding leaper lizards. In the desert, you're driving dune buggies. In Haven, you're back to zoomers. That variety gives the game some more mechanical breathing room than Jak 2 ever had. One of the biggest improvements over Jak 2 is the weapon system. In Jak 2, you have 4 guns. In Jak 3, each of those 4 guns receives 2 additional mods. That's 12 total weapon variations: Arc Wielder, Needle Laser, Supernova, Plasma RPG, Reflector variants, and many more. It's not just more weapons, it's more options. Combat becomes less about survival and more about crowd control and spectacle, which leads to something noticeable. Jak 3 is way easier. Not baby beginner mode easy, but significantly less punishing than Jak 2. Jak 2 was infamous for its difficulty spikes: checkpoint placement, escort missions, brutal vehicle sequences. Jak 3 smooths that out. More forgiving checkpoints, more powerful weapons, and more light eco abilities. And that changes the feel of the game. Jak 2 felt like it was trying to beat you down. Jak 3 feels like it wants you to beat them up. Then you have Light Jak versus Dark Jak. In Dark Jak, he makes a return, but this time he's more balanced because Jak 3 introduces Light Jak. Dark Jak is aggression, area damage, rage. Light Jak is healing, time slowing, flight, and shielding. Thematically, it mirrors the story. Mechanically, it makes you far more versatile. And honestly, Light Jak breaks some encounters. Slowing time and regenerating health removes such a desperation Jak 2 forced you onto. But that's not necessarily bad. It fits the overall arc. Jak isn't a broken prisoner anymore. He mastered both sides of eco. Platforming is still the foundation though. Underneath all the vehicles and weapons, you still have this mechanic. You still have this game genre. Wall jumps, double jumps, roll jumps, ledge grabs, hoverboard tricks. The DNA of Jak is still intact. Temple sections, volcanic chambers, precursor ruins, catacombs, those sections are where the game feels the most focused, most deliberate, and dare I say, the most Naughty Dog. And it's in those moments where you remember, they never abandoned platforming. They evolved it. Now is where the criticism creeps in. The pacing can feel uneven at times. Early on, you'll get 3 back-to-back-to-back racing missions before the story progresses meaningfully. Sometimes you're racing, then racing again, and then racing again, before returning to the core narrative beats. The desert structure, while expansive, can sometimes feel segmented, like clusters of side content stitched between major story reveals. It doesn't break the experience, but it doesn't create tonal whiplash. You'll go from the planet is dying to win this dune race pretty quickly. That's where the rush development timeline becomes visible, not in mechanics, but in pacing cohesion. Now, precursor ores return, but instead of simply unlocking doors, they allow you to purchase secrets, cheats, world mirroring, upgraded weapon damage, invincibility, big head mode style modifiers. It adds replayability and gives completion as something to grind for, but it's more of a bonus layer than a core mechanic. So, where does it land? Jak 3 is mechanically richer than Jak 2. More weapons, more options, more hubs, forms, spectacle, but it's less focused. Jak 2 felt tight and deliberate, even when it was brutal. Jak 3 feels expansive and confident, but occasionally scattered. And yet, for many players, it's the most fun in the entire trilogy because it lets you feel powerful, it lets you experiment, it lets you dominate the world instead of surviving it. And after everything Jak went through, the empowerment feels earned. When Jak 3 released in November 2004, the response was clear. This was not a misstep. According to Metacritic, the game received generally positive reviews, sitting comfortably in the mid to high 80s range. Critics praised its production value, polish, and sheer variety. GameSpot gave Jak 3 an 8.6 out of 10, highlighting its exceptional visuals on the PlayStation 2 and calling out its solid platforming, expanded weapon system, and varied mission types, and well-told storylines. They also acknowledged something important: the toned-down difficulty. Where Jak 2 was criticized for brutal checkpoints and punishing mission design, Jak 3 was seen as more balanced, more approachable, and less frustrating. And for many critics, that was a win. IGN went even further. They awarded Jak 3 a 9.6 out of 10, praising it not just as a great platformer, but as a technical achievement. They emphasized the animation quality, the smooth performance, and the consistency of polish. And remember, this was late 2004. The PlayStation was nearing the end of its life cycle. For Naughty Dog to push visuals, physics, and animation this far in the hardware, that mattered. Jak 3 was nominated at the 8th Annual Interactive Achievement Awards for Console Platforming Action Adventure Game of the Year and Outstanding Achievement in Animation. That animation nomination makes sense. Cloth physics, ragdoll physics, facial improvements. It was a subtle evolution, but noticeable. This game also earned runner-up for GameSpot's Best Platformer of 2004, losing to Ratchet & Clank Up Your Arsenal. And that's an interesting comparison. Both were PlayStation platform shooters, both had expanded arsenals, both leaned into spectacle. But Ratchet edged out that year. Commercially, the game performed strong enough to earn a Greatest Hits re-release in 2005, which was a stamp of success on the PS2 era. But the reception wasn't perfect. While some critics largely praised the game, there was an undercut among fans. Some felt it was too easy. Some felt the pacing was uneven. Some thought it didn't evolve as drastically as the jump from the precursor legacy to Jak 2. And perhaps most notably, some felt it didn't fully tie together the trilogy's mythology, especially regarding Mar. But here's the thing. The fact that we're still debating that lore decades later, that's not failure, that's impact. Jak 3 didn't shock the industry like Jak 2 did. It didn't reinvent the formula. Instead, it refined it, polished it, smoothed out its rough edges, and delivered a confident, technically impressive finale to one of the PS2's defining trilogies. Being honest, Jak 3 is different, and I mean that in the best way possible. When I look at the trilogy, I understand why some people rank this one at the bottom, but truthfully, each game can be argued as the best depending on what you value. The first game was pure platforming excellence. The second one was bold, mature, and daring. The third one feels like a culmination of everything before it. Like Crash 3, this game expands your abilities, gives you more tools, more powers, and makes you feel like the most complete version of the character. Mechanically, this is Jak at its strongest. Now, could the story have been tighter? Absolutely. There are plot holes, there are unanswered questions, there are threads that feel like they need one more draft. But even with that, the emotional beats land, the lore is fascinating, the world building is ambitious, and the fact we're still debating is Jak Mar decades later, that says something. Now, my biggest gripe is the mission pacing. Early on, you race, then you race again, then you race the monks. And that repetition comes too early in the experience. The first few hours of a game should showcase variety. It should remind players why they fell in love with the mechanics in the first place. When you lean too heavily into one style too quickly, it risks feeling repetitive. Thankfully, that issue is mostly confined to the desert. Once the game opens up, the variety returns. Now, difficulty-wise, this is easily the most forgiving game in the entire trilogy. Compared to the first two with their cheap platforming deaths and brutal checkpoints, this game gives you a lot of breathing room. Light Jak alone changes everything. Freeze time in the beat the clock mission, heal mid-combat, shield yourself. At times it feels less like strategy and more like control domination, but it works. Jak isn't a prisoner anymore. He isn't confused, and he isn't hunted. He's mastered both sides of Eco, and the gameplay reflects that growth. Then there's something bigger. This is the last Jak game made with the original founders at the helm. Rubin, Gavin. After things change and knowing that this makes a final stand a goodbye. An ending filled with mystery that may never be resolved, no definitive answer about Mar, no future direction, just open threads. But maybe that's part of why it works. As gamers, we crave closure, but we also crave discussion. We crave stories that make us pause and analyze long after the credits roll, and Jak 3 does just that. For me, this is probably my second favorite game in the trilogy, which mirrors how I feel about Crash Bandicoot as well. But let me be clear, none of these games are bad. Picking up this trilogy is like picking up 3 different bowls of gold. You can't go wrong, it just comes down to preference. And while I lean slightly towards Jak 2, Jak 3 was the last stand. And in saying goodbye to the founders, this game will mark the end of an era. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you, and I mean that. I know it took a little longer. Life started catching up to me. For those who don't know, I'm in the northeastern region of America, and we just got hit with another snowstorm, so I had some work to handle outside. But I appreciate the patience. This weekend I'm making a push to drop my Jak X Combat Racing Retrospective, and next month we begin Uncharted. So if you want to stay up to date with everything happening on the channel, hit that subscribe button. Liking the video also helps the channel more than you know, especially for smaller creators like me. And if you're feeling a little generous, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. The link is in the description. With that said, this is the Retro Phantom, signing out.